All right, ladies and gentlemen, so apologies for the delay. We are now in qualifying 1 and the only qualifying of the session. But we are back, and we're fully back. Hopefully with a full stream this time. It hasn't been a problem as of yet. So, see how we go today. Big Al currently setting the pace. 126.264 into the pits he comes, with Crichton coming out and onto the pits. Jesus, almost losing the rear end there. Andre as well coming into the pits. So everybody pretty much into the pits now, getting ready to start their laps. Let's get this all set up for you guys. Apologies for the delay. We did have a massive problem with the game. It just wasn't loading on my end at all. Had to verify files and etc. So Chromad on his lap at the moment. At a gorgeous looking Singapore. Very dry as well. Apparently we've got water for the race, which won't be ideal. So Chromad down the straight, DRS straight of course, towards the left-hander. And it's a right-hander now to Sector 2. It's looking pretty good for him at the moment. Yellow flags ahead of us as well. Have to look out for that. Sector 2's notoriously tricky, especially in this section coming up, which is known as 11, 12, and 13. So, unfortunately, invalidating immediately off the bat there for Chromad, so he won't be happy with that. I think Andre on... Whoa, he's had a bit of a moment by the looks of it. Or is that one of the boys on their out lap? I think that's an Alpine on his lap, maybe. But Andre looks to be getting out the way for people. So again, guys, apologies for the delay. We had a massive problem with the game not booting for me and for a few others as well. The update just not seeming to work. There is little Sheldon sideways into Sector 3. He'll have to get out of the way of the Ferrari as quick as possible, and he does. Hopefully the audio is all good still. I do want to jump on board with the Ferrari, actually. I haven't heard it yet. And it doesn't sound horrible. It's an update, that's for sure. It's not a welcome one, but oh well. Sector 3 has been adjusted ever so slightly. Actually, I say pretty drastically. Josh Lee, anyway, can I get an invite, lad? I don't know if you can, my friend. I don't know if you're part of this league. Josh Lee, I think he might be, but... Anyway, ACW on a flyer now. DRS wide open. Towards turn 1 we go. It's all about getting this bang on. Turn 2 and 3 navigated successfully down into turn 4. Now the DRS coming up. You have to brake on the outside, run that inside curve ever so slightly, and on the power. Now heading down towards the end of Sector 2. Sector 1 complete now into Sector 2. So Sector 1 was up a little bit there. Very wide on the exit, but ACW continuing on his way. He'll be looking to improve by about a 1/10 and a half if he wants pole position around here tonight. Nice and clean through there. Taking all the curb and some. I'll answer that in a sec, Josh. As we head towards Sector 3 as Andre retires from the session. That's in the pit lane, so he's done and dusted for the night. Rice finds a good time as well with Ferrari Pro, a 126.0. So we're close to the 125s now. ACW has to find a mega final sector if he wants to find pole. Chromad retiring also in the pits. Cutting the inside curb. Is it good enough for ACW? It's good enough for third from him, so not a bad lap as Crichton on his lap at the moment and currently 1.5 tenths up. So Josh, we do have the sign-ups. I believe you're just going to have to talk to one of the admins about that. I have no control over that. Unfortunately, Big L into the 125.991. Where's that come from? We're in the 9.1s now. Crichton to the line. What can he do? He can't. He has a massive problem into the... over the line there. I think we had a steering issue with that Mercedes. But Bag's on a lap. No, he's not. He's invalidated, and unfortunately so, because he was 2 tenths up. So it would have been good for a decent time there. And so is Icon Trust. Plebs as well to the line now. What's he going to do? Or is he starting? No, he's not starting. His lap is finished his lap, so it's good enough for 12th for Plevs. Eye contrast, the last across the line. That's it for him. So there we go. That's your qualifying done and dusted. So a very jerky start and end qualifying for these drivers out there. Derp finding himself in 8th place. That's a good position from him. I believe we do have rain on the radar for the race. So this will be a long one. And when I say a long one, this will be probably the longest of the season. But we do love a bit of rain around Singapore. It's always hectic. Always keeps people on their toes. So the new update providing us with a few problems and a few fixes to get through, but we got there in the end. Big Al taking pole position with Ferrari Pro taking 2nd place. ACW followed by Rice, Crichton, Spicy, Andre, Derp, Bags, Midas, Benjamin, Plevs, Eye Contrast, Lil Sheldon, Zach, Chromad, Verk, Bump, and of course Simo at the back there. We have 19 drivers out in the field today. That's a very, very close qualifying as well. 15 hundredths of a second separating the top two. We do not have a formation lap in Tier 1, so we'll get straight into the racing pretty much right off the bat as soon as everyone loads in. That is absolutely chucking it down. We have torrential rain for the race here in Singapore by the looks of it, and it doesn't look to be drying up anytime soon. This could be absolute chaos. It should be a good one, though. It'll be the longest of the season by far. 31 laps around the Singapore circuit. All of which will most likely be under full wet conditions. You can see it just on the edge of the screen there on the right. You can see a few drivers on full wets. Josh saying, yeah, can't be. Yep, that's very true, mate. A lot of the drivers I know for a fact can't be stuffed with it, but they'll still continue to fight. That's just the way it goes in racing. You can't control the weather. You can't control the conditions. So still looking a bit lane. Everybody's getting ready with their setups. It's going to be interesting to see where we come out here. So as we had 3, 4, 5 red lights out of the drivers. And it's lights out and away we go here at the Singapore Grand Prix. Big L immediately getting off to a pretty decent start with Ferrari Pro following close behind. Going for the inside line, doesn't hit, touches the back wheel. Everybody's getting through there relatively cleanly. A little bit of chaos at the back, but it's pretty smooth as of yet. No yellow flags. Spicy Salami moving up the field and running very wide there for Simo at the moment. Big L with a massive slide into the first sector. It does look like absolute chaos out there in terms of the conditions. The spray is flying on this first lap here at Singapore as expected. Here are the race strategies. A lot of wet tyres out there, a lot of intermediate tyres. Big L is probably one of the only on the intermediates. Even the game is recommending the wet tyres. So we'll see if Ferrari Pro can take care of that. As, yeah, Big L's going to be fighting that Williams all the way around it all the time. Ferrari Pro is going to be gaining as through the second sector for the first time we go. And across the bridge coming up, Big L running very wide, going defensive now. 31 laps of absolute torrential rain, and Chromad is immediately out of the session. I think, yeah, immediate safety car right off the bat. That's not what we wanted to see at all. Chromad immediately into the wall. Big L is going to be absolutely ecstatic with that. As he's now going to be able to run those inters as long as he can. The wet air looks absolutely torrential. Chucking it down at the moment. I do want to see if I can fix those particles, though, while we're under safety car conditions. Where is it? It'll be in graphic settings, because it just looks absolutely horrendous on my end. I don't know if it looks bad for you guys as well. We'll go to weather effects. There we go. Ultra high. Okay, didn't work. Sorry, guys. 2 secs. I did have to fix up my game a little bit there as well. There we go. That looks much better. So the spray actually looks like spray now. It doesn't look like particles of dust, which is what we love to see. Slammer, welcome. Yes, we finally got the stream working. So Chromad leaves the session, unfortunately, immediately right off the bat. Zach comes into the pit, so he must have front wing damage. The Mercedes AMG safety car will lead us away for, I reckon, about 1 or 2 laps. And then we'll get back underway and racing. I think we do have torrential rain for the majority of this race. Let's have a quick look at the biggest winners and losers on lap 1. Position changes are as follows. At the moment, Derp up 2 positions in 6th place. That's really good from him. And Bomptus as well, up 3 places from, I think it was 18th. So a pretty good run from him. Chromat, unfortunately, straight out of the session immediately. Big Al and Rice are the only people who are risking those intermediate tyres. That is super risky from these drivers tonight, but we'll see how it goes. Perfect timing from us then, as we will not get disconnected, hopefully. But yeah, hopefully, Slammer, it sounds all good on your end. I've played around a little bit with the mic settings. Hopefully they don't sound too terrible. But yeah, safety car conditions. Let's see if they've fixed the safety car glitch for spectating. Fantastic. Thank you, Slammer. Yep, so still under safety car conditions. Again, let's see if they fix that safety car graphic issue that we have had for about 2 games now. So that probably won't be the case. But we'll see how we go. Drivers warming up their tyres. We should have the safety car go in this lap. If not, the next. I think we're going to have one more lap under safety car just to allow the Red Bull of Zach to catch up. And all this time that this is happening, Big Al is licking his lips and probably ecstatic that there isn't a problem running for him at the moment with those intermediate tyres. You can see it's absolutely pelting it down here at the Singapore Grand Prix. I wonder if we'll get this this weekend at the real life one. That'll be interesting to see. But yeah, still under safety car conditions. We'll just admire it. The game looking absolutely gorgeous in the wet weather. Let's have a quick look at the battery usage. So 100%, 100%, 100% as you would expect. So the driver's refreshing their battery and getting it ready. Bomptus comes into the pit. So he's booked for a set of wets. Brand new set of wets as well. That should help him somewhat. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top of this. Lap 3 of 31, apologies. So we've still got another 28 laps to go around this Singapore Street Circus. Marina Bay Singapore Circuit. Yeah, Slam, I was talking to Josh about that. I was recommending that he talks to one of the admins. And yeah, has a bit of a discussion. He should be able to get in if he's quick enough. This is Tier 1, of course. These are guys that are relatively quick as compared to the pace of Tier 2. Was that a hit at the back from Ferrari Pro? I don't know if the Ferrari just got checked up at the back there. Safety car is in this lap. Please tell me it goes away. That would be very beneficial to me. I don't think we're going to get a green flag on our screen, which is going to be really infuriating. Yep, we're not. So the safety car graphic stays up, which is just absolutely infuriating. Thank you, F1. You've done absolutely nothing. Big update, and it hasn't fixed one of the major issues we've had all season. Classic. Anyway, Big Al preparing to lead away this pack on the fresh intermediate tyres. Lap 3 of 31. Still a long way to go in the Singapore Grand Prix. And Big Al goes for it. There he is. So he's gunned it. He's decided that's where he's going to go. And he's pulled about half a second gap already on Ferrari Pro. So back underway and racing, and all the way, Rice Fisher is already getting overtaken by the Mercedes of Crichton Arizzi into the first corner. Rice on the intermediate tyres and Crichton on the wets, and it just looks like the wets are significantly faster around here. We should get rid of that safety car. notification relatively quickly. We will have a yellow flag. There always is one in the wet around Singapore. So the wet tyres looking significantly faster as opposed to the intermediates. So again, for those that are just joining, welcome, welcome. We're not under safety car conditions. We're under green flag running. We just have that glitch, unfortunately. The Ferrari has a new mic on it, apparently. It sounds very, very different with this new patch, and I really don't know if I like it or not, but whatever, we'll run with it. At least it's not hurting my ears from the whistling sound. Just keeping an eye on that delta between Spicy and Rice ahead. Those intermediate tyres are not looking racy as of yet. Pleb's moving up the field. Maybe looking for a double move. Can't get it done. And the background there, eye contrast as well, getting past Midas. So doing a good job at the moment, these drivers, keeping it on the track. No yellow flags as of yet. We had one driver crash out. That was, of course, Chromad. As up the inside, I think Derp had a little bit of a moment, actually. Derp having a moment, of Rice is all over the back of him now. Derp absolutely sideways through the final corner and just keeping it on the circuit. Ferrari Pro has a significant delta as opposed to that of Big L. And you can just see how much grip those wets have compared to the intermediates. And now it's going to be a question of, do they try and hang it out, the Alpine team? And Rice will be considering heaps of options here. Reese, apologies. That's my bad, Reese Fisher. That's a bit awkward. And the McLarens as well, not in their usual positions as well. I just thought I'd note that. Definitely not in their usual positions at the back of the grid. So we'll see how they fare throughout the Grand Prix. Drivers taking it very tentatively, and you can see it. I wonder if the intermediates are starting to come into their own now, because Big L's starting to pull a small gap on Ferrari Pro. Four-tenths the gap between Crichton and ACW, so it'll be interesting to see. GLX Cam, welcome. So Big L, there we go. I think the intermediates are coming into their own now. Looks like this might have actually been a smart strategy call from both Big L and Reese, because it seems like they have slightly more pace as opposed to that of the wet tyres. Absolutely sideways for Crichton through that third corner. He's pushing as hard as he can in that Mercedes car, and it's going to be tentative all the way around. It's slightly tapping the wall. You have to be careful on those side pressures now. When does maintenance end? Probably another, I'm going to say, hour or two. That's how it went for us last time. You just see, I love watching these cars in the wet because it's really tentative stuff. You can see them sliding and constantly adjusting through corners. The small dab of the brakes, the small accelerations, just the small notches of the steering, everything, making sure the minute details are taken care of. There's a bit of a racing line starting to form now. You can visibly see it as opposed to how it was at the start of the race. Crichton right on the back of ACW and looking for the move around the outside, maybe. Gets squeezed to the wall. ACW doesn't give him space. Does through the secondary apex. Goes deep. Goes tight. ACW loses position down to fourth. So Crichton moving up the field slowly but surely. He wouldn't be too happy with that move, but Nothing has come out of it. No damage or anything like that. So ACW will be thinking about what he can do next for this span of the Grand Prix. And of course, with the wet tyres, that means that they're, well, if they don't want to box, they don't need to. They do not need to stop if they think the wet tyres can last all the way. But I personally do not think that's possible. Surprised we haven't had a yellow flag as of yet. It's been very clean and consistent from the back of the field as well. So that as Bumpton gets a 3-second time penalty right on cue. Just want to jump on board with this little battle here. This has been something I've been keeping an eye on. There's about 2/10 gap between 11th, 12th and 13th. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers tackle this one. Eye contrast as well, hunting down the likes of Benjamin and Lil Sheldon. Fighting for those all-important points. The wet tyres are still grippy. Still nothing as of yet showing that they're coming off a cliff yet, which is important. Good to see so many people in chat. It's great to see that many people talking along. Hopefully you guys are enjoying tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's stream as Big Al sets another fastest lap. Those intermediates have well and truly warmed up and come into their own now. And maybe the drivers ahead will be behind will start thinking, oh, maybe it's time to go for the intermediate tyres because the wets seem to be dropping off a little bit. Is Sheldon very wide through there, and Benjamin's going to be all over the back of him all the way down into turn one. Heaps of potential here for him. Benjamin's still right on the back of this Alpine. The McLaren sniffing the rear of that car. It's still absolutely chucking it down here at Singapore. Very, very touch and go with the conditions at the moment. Benjamin deploying all the energy he can. Lil Sheldon tries to defend the outside. Is it going to be enough? It is. Lil Sheldon holds that position with Benjamin getting a slap of oversteer to boot. And I think we're just going to jump on board with Derp, who's right in the back of ACW and has been hunting this entire time. The Ferrari-powered Haas. Still hunting down ACW. So Derp in a really good position at the moment. I've also noticed Plebs with a really good delta. So we'll probably jump on board with him shortly. And again, these drivers just combating these conditions as best they can. Oversteer on every corner. I think Reese might be looking for a way round on Derp now. As Big L yet again sets a fastest lap. Tyres have well and truly come into their own as Plevs and Andre have had a bit of a moment by the looks of it. Bag says thank you. I think Andre decides to stay out. So I wonder what's happened there and why we didn't get a yellow flag. Camry Hybrid, can't lie. I reckon the same. That's a good analysis. Sideways for ACW and into the wall. That's massive. Derp's going to lunge on that. He's going to have the opportunity all the way down this straight now. Derp up the inside, potentially looking for the outside line now. ACW goes to defensive on the inside. Does he hold it? Reese on the side of this as well. Has a bit of a tank slapper coming out the corner and maintains position. Derp consistently applying pressure. And it's working here as ACW wide yet again. Derp into the wall. The drivers playing around with every little bit of grip they can find as Sheldon finds a place on Andre and starts to hunt down the likes of Plevs. I think Andre has a problem as around the outside and up the inside goes Benjamin Cam into one of the trickiest corners to overtake. Phenomenal move there. That was really understated by the game. Derp still right on the back of ACW as well. Yeah, Devo Star, really long safety car. Surprised they haven't fixed this bug yet, but that's Codemasters for you, I guess. They'll focus more on the sound effects of cars than the playability. Classic. Derp. Still there. Right on the back of ACW. ACW sideways. And continuing in the rain here at Singapore. As it's all coming pouring down for the Ferrari team at the moment. What can Derp do? Can he pressure ACW into a mistake? Because the pressure's well and truly there. These drivers keeping it on the track somehow. We haven't had a yellow flag yet. I say that as Derp absolutely sideways. He tried on the inside and it just hasn't worked out for him there. And Reese, apologies again, is going to be all over the back of Derp now, especially with the hot tyres. Lap 10 of 31, significantly long way to go. Still in this Grand Prix. And it doesn't look like the rain is going to be subsiding anytime soon as well. It's a good little battle for fourth at the moment. Pretty much a four-way battle, I'm going to say. Yeah, four-way battle for fourth. Anything can be thrown at these drivers at any point in time. All it takes is one little twitch of the rear as you see every single driver having oversteer out of that final corner. It's phenomenal to watch the control that these guys have over these cars. The Singapore night being aggressively dampened by the water. I don't know if we can get red flag conditions with too much water on the track, but I don't think we'll get there as Reese maybe looking for the move up the inside on Derp. Is he going to get it done? Tries it. Pushes Derp out wide and concedes position. He knows that's not a good overtake if it was to happen as Derp goes very wide. And concedes to Reese. So I imagine that's just a change of position that's been agreed on. Benjamin still right in the back of Lil Sheldon as well. We'll jump on board with that. The McLaren driver still pressuring. And maybe potentially looking for a move down this straight. We'll see what happens ahead of him here. Still keeping an eye on that delta with Reese. And I'm slowly just trying to keep my voice as long as I can, because I know this is going to be a long Grand Prix, so don't mind me if I go silent for a bit. I'm just trying to maintain, because I don't have a secondary commentator tonight, unfortunately. Slammer can't make it as Reese up the inside of ACW, and that's a beautiful move for fourth position, but running very wide at the exit there, and I imagine ACW is going to potentially have a look at this, but the intermediates now, well and truly, coming into their own. So that's a move for position into fourth. Benjamin as well, still on the back of Lil Sheldon. All to play for these boys here. Benjamin maybe looking for the move. I don't think he's deploying ERS, but I think Lil Sheldon might be deploying. A lock up from the front left of Benjamin's car is not going to help his tyres through the rest of this Grand Prix if he wants to try and make this a one-stop. As sideways for Sheldon, and somehow he collects that up into the second sector. Benjamin just seems to have a little bit more pace through that second sector, but not enough to warrant a move as of yet. The Big L as well, still well and truly ahead of the pack now. I mean, 7, almost 8 seconds gap, and those intermediate tyres are looking way quicker than those wets now. All it takes is one little snap of oversteer, though, and that's going to go out the window as Reese gets his first penalty. I've also just noted Spicy Salami into the pits for a fresh set of intermediate tyres, so maybe it's the crossover point that we've been waiting for. Spicy is the first to bite the bullet, and I wonder if this is going to work out for him. Those intermediates are going to take a while to heat up and to warm up. I wonder if I pause, will I get rid of that? No, it won't. Okay. So annoying seeing the safety car. There is Derp all over the back of ACW. This battle has not stopped all race. So tight to the walls around here. And the wet just makes it so much difficult. Turn the UI on and off. That didn't work, unfortunately. Sorry, good try. Maybe if I keep it off for a bit. Like that. Nah, hasn't worked. Unfortunately, I don't think I can do anything to get rid of it. Derp losing a bit of pace in that second sector, but regaining it all on the straight. So I wonder if he's running a little less downforce compared to ACW. Looks like that's potentially what's happening here, is he's gaining about a tenth down the straight every time. Into the pits for Derp. So we'll see where this puts him. He's decided he's had enough of those wet tyres. He's going to play off the likes of Spicy Salami, who's coming to the pits, is significantly behind, I believe. Unless I'm incorrect. Is that Spicy Salami coming through the final corner now? It is. So Bumptus gets another penalty to his name. Spicy Salami has the undercut or overcut worked for him. The undercut has worked out perfectly as he comes out ahead of Derp. So I believe this is kind of for position. I think maybe as Spicy tries to go around the outside of Simo and says, thank you very much, I'm going to take that position. And does so very cleanly. Derp is now going to look to take back what's his as well. And he's exploring the new levels of grip he's found on those new intermediate tyres. Lap 14 of 31. Not even half distance yet. High contrast. Definitely going to be one to watch on those wet tyres as opposed to the intermediates with all these drivers ahead. High contrast showing a bit of pace at the moment as well. Slowly catching the back of Andre as into the pits comes Crichton. So he's also bit the bullet. And he said, yeah, enough of these wet tyres. I'm going on to the intermediates. And onto the intermediates he goes. Now let's see, does Bags do the same thing? No, he doesn't. He stays out. Plebs also stays out. A lot of people staying out still, but Crichton should come out ahead theoretically of, oh, Andre getting a penalty. That's not good for his race. Crichton should theoretically come out ahead here of Verk if he can get it right. And I believe he does. They touch. And Crichton just, and I mean just ahead of Verk. Coming out the pits, so P9 for him at the moment. Relatively clean racing from the field at the moment, as well as into the pits comes Eye Contrast as well. He's had enough of those wet tyres. Derp and Spicy Salami, I want to jump on board with this because they're going side by side. And that doesn't normally work into this sector, but it has somehow as Derp up the inside of Spicy and keeps that position. Derp's now going to be hunting Bomptis and Midas ahead, especially on fresh intermediates as opposed to wets. Under the bridge section, that's a bold overtake if he can make it stick. And he does, and through follows Spicy Salami, so Bomptis losing multiple positions. As into the pits comes Ferrari Pro. So we'll see if that works out for him. See where that places him as out of the pit stop he comes. I think it's about a 2.5 second stop. Is this going to put him neck and neck with Plevs? I don't believe it will, as out of the pit lane comes Ferrari. Benjamin Cam also in a prone position to overtake and use that extra grip that he's going to have opposed to those wet intermediates that are going to be absolute stone motherless cold. As Benjamin gives up position, concedes to Crichton. He knows that's not his fight. He knows he doesn't need to fight that too hard. He's on the wet tyres. Crichton's on the intermediates. He just, isn't going to fight that too hard. It almost looks as if the rain isn't falling from that screen, but I can assure you it is most definitely coming down and hard around this Singapore street circuit. Lap 16 of 31, we're pretty much halfway now. Let's talk a bit about the Singapore street circuit, of course. It's one of the longest street circuits on the calendar. It's been shortened ever since they changed up this Sector 3. So Sector 3 used to dive to the right and have a chicane to the left and right again. That was honestly one of my favourite parts about Singapore, but they've gotten rid of it in favour of the straight, which has actually improved racing considerably around here. Benjamin comes into the pits. Derps that's the fastest lap. So a lot of the drivers now opting to pit. I think Plevs as well into the pits, ACW into the pits, and they're all pitting for a fresh set of intermediate tyres, which are very significantly faster, and you can see it. The question is, when does Big L say that's enough? Because those intermediates have got to be absolutely screaming for help at the moment. Currently a 40-second gap, which is more than enough to box without a problem. He just has to keep it clean and clinical. Here we go. There we go. So Big L into the pits. He knows he can't set another pace on this intermediate. He has to get off it as quick as possible. Make sure not to be speeding. He doesn't. Into the pits he comes. This is a critical pit stop for Williams. They need to get this bang on right all the way down the end of the pit lane. Is it going to be enough? I believe it will be more than enough for him to come out in front of Ferrari Pro. Yes. Big L with the big gamble, and it's worked out in his favour considerably around this circuit. The only thing that can stuff him up now is a safety car. And it's been looking pretty clean from the drivers at the moment, so I wouldn't expect to see one anytime soon. I should say as you hear the cheers of the crowd. But I won't say that. Spicy Salami still hunting down Reese. Lap 18 of 31. Long way to go. I wonder if we'll see dry conditions. I very, very seriously doubt it, but Singapore can do that sometimes. Throw a spanner into the mix. Be a big gamble to go into the soft or medium tyres. Yeah, the safety car's still out, man. Nobody's spun, nobody's had a moment. Yellow flags haven't been shown, so I hasn't gotten rid of it yet. I will probably try and bring this up with Codemasters if I can, because honestly it's quite infuriating and it's really distracting me as well. But yeah, I can confirm we're not under safety car. It's just the game being glitchy as always. Just keeping an eye on that battle at the back there with the Sauber and the Haas. Oh, I thought that would fix it. It didn't. Yeah, it's all good, Devstar. Devo Stater, apologies. Yeah, it's just me tonight. Normally I have Slammer with me, but yeah, I think just due to the problem with the F1 game being down for maintenance, I don't think he'll be able to join us tonight. So yeah, just me on the comms board. It's normally how it goes. Losing my voice slowly. Slowly descending into madness around this Singapore street circuit. Probably one of the ones you don't want to have wet rain at, because it just makes it such a long race, which in turn makes it quite difficult to commentate sometimes, especially with gaps this big. But hey, you never know. There could be a spinner at any point in time. It could be a safety car called out. There could even be a red flag with enough drivers involved in a collision. As we do have that enabled in this league. Plebs is slowly gaining here on Lil Sheldon. Not as fast as I would expected him to, but still making gains. This is pretty much the closest battle on track at the moment. Verk and Andre is still one to watch, but yeah, nothing really happening out on track at the moment. Damn, that's absolutely brutal. That is absolutely brutal, my guy. Plebs almost into the back of Lil Sheldon there, but somehow keeping it out the barrier. Big L, yet again, setting the pace. A 139.837. And all the time out there as well, these drivers will be managing tyres the best they can, especially if they want to try and make these intermediates last as long as they can. Still another 12 laps to go of this fabled Singapore street circuit. It's about 20 seconds slower at the moment in terms of the pace out there compared to the dry qualifying we had. Bumped us with another penalty to his name. Verk is still right in the back of Andre, so we'll jump on board with that because it's a close one compared to everyone else at the moment. Probably one of the closer battles out there. Everyone within at least a second of each other. So not much action out there at the moment. We're in the dead period of the race. I say that as Verk maybe looking for a squeeze up the inside on Andre, but I don't think it's going to happen. Especially in the wet. No grip on that inside line whatsoever. Somehow keeping it out of the wall. Verk with some excellent car control through there. Let's touch base with Big Al, I reckon. Unless we're going to see something at the back of this fight here, which I don't think we will. So Big Al currently setting the pace out there. Let's have a quick look at his statistics at the moment. So he's out there on 3-lap-old intermediates. He's had one stop and he's pretty much, well, he's been there the entire race. He's done a really, really good job so far. Have a look at this lap data from him. It's decent at the moment. I mean, he's keeping the pace consistent. It's Plebs and Lil Sheldon. Of course, the second I swap off that, they've gone for position changes. So Plebs getting past and through on Lil Sheldon, which is a critical move for the Grand Prix and for the points, of course. Verk also still right on the back of Andre. Nothing happening on this battle as of yet. Midas gets a penalty. Down in 17th position. Icon Trust has significantly dropped off the pace here. I don't know what happened. But, it's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately, sometimes. Strategy doesn't work out, or you hit the wall. Sheldon. That's big. Gets a penalty to his name. Not ideal for him whatsoever. So Zach and Benjamin will actually move up positions at this rate. They're in a net 10th and 11th with Lil Sheldon 12th. With that penalty at the moment. Benjamin is sniffing the rear end of Zach's car. I mean, he was right on the back of that Red Bull. All the way through those first sequences of corners and sideways for Zach. And now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting some action out on track as down the straight we go towards the left-hander. There's no DRS active as of yet. The rain is still coming down. It's coming down hard. Zach goes defensive. Benjamin goes for the inside line. Zach runs out wide, and that's it. Zach concedes position. He knows he can't fight that anymore as Benjamin takes that position. So 11th for him. And now he's going to start hunting down the likes of Lil Sheldon. That's the first bit of action we've had on track for about 16 laps. Who's pitted? Absolutely. Pretty much out there, everyone out there has pitted. I mean, we don't have any that haven't. I think everybody mainly going for the one stop apart from those on the two stop strategy. So like Zach, Bump, Icon Trust, and Midas. Quick look at the penalties as well. 9 seconds for Bomb. Midas with 3, Andre with 3, Lil Sheldon with 3, and Reese with 3 as well. Oldest tyres on the track at the moment. Spicy Salami with a 10-lap old intermediate tyres. Benjamin will be hunting down Lil Sheldon with significant pace here, considering he's on fresher intermediates. And I mean, we still haven't seen a yellow flag from these drivers. It's been very, very clean and clinical racing tonight. Not a foot wrong so far. But yet again, still a relatively long way to go in this Grand Prix. About 7.5, 8 laps to go. Sideways, that was gorgeous from Sheldon. Beautiful car control, sideways into the second sector. Verk getting past Andre as well. You can just see how big the gap is between that 10th position and 3rd and 4th. We saw them pass on the interchange there at the back of Sector 2. ACW also on the back of Spicy, so this has come out of nowhere. Looks as if Spicy Salami's tyres have slightly gone off a cliff now. We'll see where that goes. Benjamin looks to go up the inside into the right-hander. Goes to the inside yet again, runs it out wide for the Alpine, and all of a sudden, Zach is on board with this as well. Very wide for Little Sheldon. Little Sheldon almost running off the track there, hitting the side of Zach, and somehow, we haven't got anybody into a wall. We haven't had anybody spin. And now the action starts coming out as the intermediates come alive. We've got a yellow flag as Bags retires from the session. There's a virtual safety car deployed. That's into the barrier. I believe that's going to be enough for a safety car, actually. Bags with significant damage in the barrier on the left-hand side. Not a good race for him. VSC meaning everybody has to slow down 40%. So hopefully we get back underway in racing shortly here. I don't believe we'll need a safety car. There wasn't any debris out on track. Pretty much just a tyre in the wall. Oh, that's a massive problem for Simo. He's going to have a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC. We've got a yellow flag in the background there for Midas, I think, who hit the wall. But we are under green flag running, finally. ACW still right in the back of Spicy Salami, and all of a sudden this race has come alive right at the end of this Grand Prix. 25 laps to 31, so still 6 laps to go. We've still got a significant long way to go here at this race. Anything can happen. As I've said, we could have a late safety car that could bring us to a 3-lap sprint. I just want to jump on board there with Lil Sheldon, who was potentially looking up the inside there of Zach. Couldn't make it happen. And Verk has been brought onto the scene along with Andre. So all the bottom runners at the moment trying to fight for that top 10 position. We've got a pretty much 4-way battle for 10th place, which is exactly what we want to see. Yes, Steve-O, he has indeed stopped doing laps as Lil Sheldon very deep into the first corner. He's gained a little bit of time there, so it's going to be interesting to see what the stewards think of that. Still hunting down Zach and just soaring away at the steering wheel all the way through turn 4. No DRS still activated. The rain isn't coming down anywhere near as hard as we did before, but it's still coming down. It's been consistently coming down out there, and we haven't had a change at all of condition. As very wide there for Zach, and Lil Sheldon has been invited to go up the inside, and it doesn't happen. Sheldon gets the door slammed shut on him by Zach. This has been phenomenal drifting and defense from Zach. Still keeping an eye on ACW and Spicy. That'll be one to watch towards the end of this Grand Prix is Lil Sheldon almost touching the rear end of that Red Bull. And we'll jump on board for this one here as ACW and Spicy Salami again locked in combat. Nothing happening as of yet. Soaring away at that steering wheel. All the drivers out there finding grip and finding very little sometimes as well. Having understeer moments, oversteer moments, and it's just something you have to deal with in the wet. You have to be one with the car at all times, and if you're not, well, you're going into the wall pretty much immediately. This has been by far the longest 50% race we've had, 31 laps around this grueling street circuit. Easily one of my favorite circuits. I was absolutely rapid around here when I was still racing. Always love this one and Monaco are my particularly good circuits. I'm always good around really tight, twisty circuits. As ACW trying to look up the inside, trying to look for a move, trying to find a way through. Verk and Lil Sheldon as well going side by side. I'll jump on board with that. I think they've had a bit of a moment actually into the final corner of Sector 1. ACW still hunting down Spicy Salami. Let's get some telemetry. Have a look at the battery usage here. 76% for Spicy and 65% for ACW. Now, ACW is going to use all of that battery down this straight. Is it going to be enough to catch him? No, it's not. Spicy Salami goes defensive, holds that inside line, doesn't have any type of invitation available to ACW. No misjudgment calls there. Bit of a snap of the rear, but we continue underway. Lap 27 to 31. 4 laps to go. ACW's looking for that 6th position in the all-important Ferrari-Williams battle in the Constructors. And of course, the Drivers' Championship as well. Critical points on are available for this Grand Prix. Reese and Derp side by side through the second sector we go. Derp sideways and Reese no better. Somehow Derp has defended that. I think that was an intentional drift. Phenomenal driving. And Reese has to think, recharge the battery and go once again on the next lap. ACW also has the opportunity here. Massive snap of oversteer. Somehow keeps it out of the wall. Verk and Lil Sheldon yet again going side by side. I'll jump on board with that in a sec. Yep, nothing happening as of yet with these guys. Verk almost into the back of Lil Sheldon as you jump on board there. Zach has now pulled a gap as Verk and Lil Sheldon have started fighting. So Zach will start pulling that gap as quick as he can and try to find Benjamin if he can at the end of this Grand Prix. ACW getting past Spicy Salami. Again, these two, Spicy Salami actually holding the inside and managing to hold control on him. Bit of a snap of oversteer there from the Ferrari, as we saw in the background. Verk and Lil Sheldon yet again getting very close. Verk looks for the inside, thinks better of it. However, has a much better run through the chicane and maybe, just maybe down the straight, he'll have an opportunity. Reese on the back as well of Derp. I'll jump on board with that shortly. ACW, there's too many battles on the field at the moment. ACW looks to go around the outside of Spicy Salami. Can't make it happen. Spicy Salami going defensive. Benjamin Cam getting the penalty added to his name. That's going to help Zach in his fight for 9th position. At the moment, nothing being said between this Alpine and McLaren battle. McLaren relatively down the field from where we expect them. Verk maybe looking to go around the outside and turn that to the inside line as Lil Sheldon gets blocked all the way through. They beat each other off and Andre's going to be all over the back of this now. With these two fighting, Andre's caught up and all of a sudden this is a three-way battle for 11th place. Sideways with a bit of wing damage there from Lil Sheldon. Massive sideways moment from Andre. Somehow he's kept that out the wall. That was a slap and a half of oversteer from Andre. Spicy and ACW. Again, lap 29 of 31. One lap to go till we hit final lap for these two. ACW will have something to say. I can guarantee he's charging that battery. You can see it on 57%. So Spicy's using a lot more considering the conditions. It's been really clean racing from a lot of these drivers. It's been absolutely phenomenal racing in the wet, in the torrential rain that we had at the start, to the rain that we're having right now as ACW sideways as well as Spicy Salami. If you drift, I drift too. I think ACW is going to be saving up that battery for the final two laps now as Derp and Reese going side by side. I'll jump on board with that. Derp holds the outside line. Reese can't do anything about it, unfortunately. Don't know how this little gap formed, but it has. Lil Sheldon, I think, has got wing damage. He does definitely have wing damage because Bumptus is all over the back of him right now. Significantly slower through the corners. ACW, though, still right on the back of Spicy. ACW goes for the wider move, the wider rotation to try and keep the speed high. Hasn't worked in his favour. He's got one more opportunity in the coming lap. Can he go for that 6th place? This battle has brought Spicy well out of contention for Reese. Reese will be thinking about that move on Derp as ACW thought about it. Right on the back of that V-Carb. The Ferrari at the moment still hunting down. Still fighting. One more lap to go. Sorry, 2 more laps to go, apologies. And it's still anyone's game for that 6th place at the moment. Plevs is 18 seconds back. He's not one to worry about. That's Midas, I believe, in the Red Bull. Spicy's still right on the power and just trying to figure it out. Bomptus and Lewis Sheldon. Sideways for ACW and soaring at that steering wheel as best as he can. Final 2 opportunities are ahead of him here. He really has to think, ACW. Let's have a look at how much battery he has. 89 as opposed to 73. So a little bit more battery to expel down this straight. He's not going to use any of it till the final lap, and we can confirm that, as he hasn't activated the overtake as of yet. Tense moments here at Ferrari and at V-Carb. They'll be eagerly waiting for the results as ACW right on the back of Spicy yet again. We head to the final lap of this Grand Prix. Big Hell has he's run away with the lead of this Grand Prix. He's commanded it all the way through. Not a foot wrong from him. I doubted the intermediates for a second, but they've come alive, and they've come alive in his favour, as they're both going to deploy as much energy as they can now. Down the main straight we go. Spicy goes defensive. ACW thinks about the move, thinks better of it. However, gets a better run coming into Sector 2. This is the fight for 6th place. This is the final lap for these drivers to make their moves. ACW just soaring away at the reel, as you can just see how treacherous conditions are out there, especially worn out intermediate tyres, almost into slicks at this point. Up the inside, ACW tries to go, and I can't believe he's made that stick. Spicy Salami's going to be thinking, how the hell has he done that? Big Al takes the lead and the win of this Grand Prix. Ferrari Pro will come home second, but all the eyes are on this battle for 6th place, as all of them trying to get on the power as quick as possible. Crichton comes home 3rd. It doesn't matter. Spicy Salami isn't going to be close enough, as ACW has made the boldest overtake I've ever seen into the final sector. He's been building up to that all Grand Prix, and finally ACW can say thank you very much to 6th place as he comes across the line. Fantastic racing from both of them. Spicy Salami won't be too happy with that, but Big Al with the most commanding lead I think I've ever seen in a Grand Prix victory around a street circuit. Andre also has Little Sheldon in front of him, and potentially a little bit of action still to come here at the end of this Grand Prix. Sheldon goes defensive on the inside. Andre clubbers the curb, and unfortunately that's going to be 14th position for him. Icon Trust will come home in 15th, and Simo will come home in 17th, unless, well, Bomptus drops down to 14th. So Sheldon goes up to 12th. Well done from him. Big Al with no front wing, so I wonder if he came across the front wing, across the finish line with no front wing. That'd be pretty heroic, especially around the Singapore street circuit. But there you go, Simo to cross the line now, and that'll be your racing over and done with. What a long Grand Prix that was, but we had a very, very long intermediate period of just no action out on track. Everybody slowly bringing their tyres up to speed, and then it all kicked off right at the end as expected. Verk for driver of the day. But I mean, what a race right at the end there. As always, Singapore providing. It always seems to go that way around here. Yas Marina. Sorry, not Yas Marina. I keep saying Yas Marina. That's Abu Dhabi. I mean to say the Singapore Grand Prix. Can't remember the name of it, unfortunately, but there you go. Williams taking the top step of the podium. Good racing across the board tonight. Fantastic to see as well. We will have our interviews shortly as well, unless we can't do that. I think we do have interviews, though. I think someone has joined for interviews. So, there we go. Crichton into the interview booth. That's for 3rd place. So, well done to you. Happy with that. You would be happy with that, most likely. There you go. Online services error. So, the game's crashed for me. But my God,
Great
what a
game,
race.
mate. Beautiful
What a
game.
race. 3rd place, Crichton. You got to be happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. Not really too, I guess, disappointed with that one. I'd say I wasn't really too happy with the setup there. Just had no regrip. So I feel like 3rd was probably really the best I could manage, especially starting on the wet tyres there. Probably something that I need to make note ready for next race in the rain. But really happy to finish with the 3rd spot for that one.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you should be happy with that. It was, I mean, pretty tame race at the front there. There wasn't really much battling that happened. The rear end of the field was wild. But yeah, solid race. One that you can be happy with. You know, moderately boring race, but boring is good. So, well done.
Yeah, exactly right.
All right, on to 2nd position. I believe that's Ferrari Pro. So, well done to you, my friend. You took 2nd place. Again, another bit of a boring race for you. How'd you find it out there?
Hello, can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, sweet as. Yeah, it was good fun. I enjoyed those conditions. I thought it was payback for my stupid spin I did last week and that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can probably thank the points for that as well. That was a good haul of points. How did you find the conditions out there? Obviously, you've said you were comfortable with them. The start was absolutely torrential.
Yeah, it was so bad. I didn't expect Big Al to get away in the inters like that, but it must be just something to do with this year's game. But yeah, it was really fun. Good sliding around and that, and yeah, I don't know. I just felt I had some good pace, especially in the heavy rain and that. Then once the inters came, it just kind of settled in well with that. So yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Easy done. Sounds good. Well, that was a really good race from you two. Thank you. And Big L has joined us. 1st place position. I mean, you bloody ran away with that. There was absolutely no chance of anybody catching you with a 40-second gap when you decided to pit. Talk us through your strategy. What did you think? And how'd you go out there?
Hello everyone. My name is Al. I don't know. I just obviously last week we raced at Spa. I saw Pepsi start on Inters, and then obviously I don't know. I just guessing. I got nothing to lose anyway. I just pressed Inters on the last minute because the delta say you plus 40 seconds. So I just pressed Inters, and then luckily it worked out for me. And I'm pretty sure that first safety car saved me a bit because the first couple of laps I probably not gonna be the quickest, but yeah, I just got lucky, and then obviously the Inters is a bit quicker than the wets.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I think we're heading to, what is it next week? It's Hungary next week, so it should be interesting to see how that one goes for you boys. Have you got strategies ready for that one?
Nope. 1 hour before the race, this is my strategy.
Classic.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to the winners, Big Al, Ferrari Pro, and Crichton. Thanks for the interviews. We'll head in to race number 5 next week. Thank you, GLX Cam, for following. Much appreciated. It's been a fantastic race. A decent one around the Singapore street circuit, of course. Should be a good race to come around Hungary. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.